they're not hard to find. Strong arm tactics so loud, only themselves in mind. Every player has dreams of making ORCA fame. They'll live on in the minds of those who get in their way. ORCAs all say, don't come for me. Midners boots, they're so vain. As we set up the podcast webcam, the pod is here to talk ORCA game. ORCA King CK with delusions of fame. In this LRG world, he's the apex predator. Danny and Jules in tow, always ready to go. Now it's time for the show, they're the apex predators.
Hello and welcome to the ORCA Pod, the Apex Predators of Australian Survivor LRG podcasting. It has been since, February, March, since we've had the opportunity to podcast a new season, and I couldn't be more excited to be here with you, with our audience, with new audience members joining us for the first time to discuss the newest season of Melbourne Survivor, Uncharted Waters. And of course, for all of you that have been watching the videos, for you've been seeing the cast release, for those who didn't watch previous podcasts and had it spoiled, my two lovely co-hosts are on this season. Danny and Jules are finally getting their moment in the sun. Well, Danny for the second time. Jules has been waiting for this moment to prove she exists in a Survivor context, and I know she's incredibly excited. And so therefore, I needed for this season some new people to join me on the podcast to discuss this season, this exciting season that we have coming up. And frankly, as this is the ORCA Pod, the only people worthy of joining me on said pod are orcas themselves. Because frankly, who is better served to swim in the uncharted waters than a pod of orcas? And I am now officially an ORCA. I remain ORCA Prime, but as of last night, I am the Bromelo medalist for playing with fire. And I must say, no ORCA has faced stiffer competition than I did for that award. Yet here I am, ORCA Prime, official Bromelo medalist. And joining me on our coverage of this season, I have a number of other excellent ORCAs, well-deserving winners of the Bromelo medal. And I had two of them joining me tonight. One can't join us because he is at work, but I will be making his selections, his picks for him. That is the one, the only Josh O'Brien. But joining me tonight for our coverage, for our draft, to see who should be selected and who will be selected last and who will be the People's Champion, which I'll explain in a moment for those who are not familiar with it. I only have the best. And joining me first is the Queen of Qanberra. I know that she's going to be ecstatic with the amount of strong women on this cast. Perhaps she will call up Bethany and they'll have a discussion about how good it is. Maybe we'll get Bethany on the show for that very discussion. Just thought of that. Maybe not tonight, but another time. But without further ado, let me welcome the ORCA of Qanberra Survivor 3 vs. the World. Lon, welcome.
Oh, hi.
How excited are you to be here on the ORCA Pod?
I'm a little bit excited about the ORCA Pod, a little bit excited. But like exactly as you said, my real excitement is coming from the fact that it's the most badass cast of women I think I've ever seen. And I'm going to get to commentate on the badassery of these women. And actually, that Bethany suggestion was I'm going to give you props there. That was genius. We might have to make that happen.
Well, I should be getting all the props because for those that aren't aware, I did the casting on this season with John. So any of the cast that you really like, that's me, especially all the strong women. And any of the cast that you don't like, that's John. Okay. So just so we're aware.
We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that.
For those that are joining us for the first time, comment live. We'll throw it up on the screen. Jules says you're an okay replacement, but they're coming up live in this coverage, so be ready. Now, joining me, and I'm so excited to have him on the ORCA Pod. Not only is he a Bromelo medalist, not only is he an unquestionable ORCA, but he was, in my opinion, the absolute star of Backyard Survivor One Well. Without any further ado, let me bring in the bounty hunter himself, Marc.
Hello, CK. Thank you for having me this season.
I am so excited to have you both. This is such a combo. The chat is going off. What are you excited about most? Judging people, criticizing them? What appeals to you, Marc?
Judging people, but also like looking at gameplay from a different perspective and getting to like unpack it down. I think I'm also looking forward to like lifting other people up and cheering for them rather than tooting my own horn for once. So I'm gonna have fun doing that.
That's incredibly nice and well-meaning of you, Marc. Maybe I need to boot you off the show. But no, it's good. We are here to lift people up as well as to have some fun. Okay, so first we need to determine a draft order. And so I will bring up a screen for that purpose. Give me 1 second. Sorry, apologies. I thought I had this ready, but I will get it ready now. I'm going to share this. So this will determine the draft order. That's not quite working. So I was going to do this. Yeah. All right. Well, hang on. I'll just zoom it down. There we go. It will tell us what it is. I've got the better thing. Randomize is going to tell the order. And, okay. Yeah, randomize. 25 times. It's going to randomize it 25 times. I've done the names, you silly thing. This thing isn't awkward enough. Randomize. Okay, it's done.
I can't see it, but I'll trust you.
It goes Josh, Loz, Marc, and then it will be a snake draft and go back Marc, Josh, Marc, Loz.
Josh isn't even here. Josh isn't even here. It goes Loz, Marc, Josh.
All right.
Josh has sent me his picks. He sent me them.
Mm-hmm.
I will be reading them for him. And his first pick, and he's given me a little thing to say about them as well. His first pick is the one, the only God of War, Mars. Now, this is what he had to say about the God of War. Where is it? Cutie, my straight BF of the season, non-threatening, seems trustworthy, coming to play the game and win, going with the flow and playing off the fly. Mars has a lot of potential to be an iconic player. Do you like my Josh O'Brien impression? Marc, you know that. Was it
it's a bit shaky.
Just
like he is on his 2 feet. It's a bit shaky, just like he is on his 2 feet.
Okay, so what do you guys think about Mars?
Well,
How do you think?
Okay, do you want me to go first?
Yeah, just tell us. What do you think?
All right. Look, I think Mars is adorable. So for that, he ranks highly for me just because he's such a cutie. But beside that, what I liked about Mars was that in his intro, he didn't talk about how nice he is or, that he's here for the adventure. He came in wanting to play. And I think straight away that sets him apart from almost every other guy on this season, is that at least he seems to be coming in wanting to strategize and make some big moves, and he's not super worried about people liking him. So I adore Mars. I think he's absolutely gorgeous. I wish he was one of my drafts.
Yeah, part of the reason why I wanted to sabotage Josh's pick order is because I knew we were going to gravitate.
And I can't hear anything that Marc is saying again.
Well, I can hear Marc. I can hear you. I can hear you both.
I'm going to put my AirPods in and see if that helps.
Yeah, so I thought that Mars was one of 2 acceptable males on this season. So Mars stocks are rising. He definitely has ORCA potential. I see the ORCA potential in Mars here. Birds hate him, but I love him. he's a bit of a Hitchcockian protagonist, you know what I mean? So I'm feeling that. And he just wants to have fun, and I like that. So I'm also rooting for Mars, and I'm very sad he's not in my draft.
When you say Hitchcockian protagonist, are you imagining him just in a window, being a pervert, staring in someone's back window? Is that what you're thinking? Is that where you're at?
Imagining like birds pecking out all the eyes of all his loved ones, but like he survives. You know what I mean? He's the last man standing. He pushes people down to the ground and gets his own way out. He fights Scrappy, and I love it.
So not living with the corpse of his mother, then.
No, not this Mars.
Come on, we're doing some good Hitchcock references here. Loz, can you hear us now? Can you hear Mark?
I can hear you, CK. I can't hear Mark at all.
Frankly, that's all you need to hear. Zach said that this was his toppers pick as well. Okay, so next up, Loz, you have the next pick, and who are you picking?
So my next pick was my first pick anyway, so I didn't get gypped for my first, and I'm not going to lie and pretend that I'm not biased, because I am biased. My first pick is my one and only girl, Dani. And there are two reasons for me picking Dani. One, simply just because I love her completely, and she's my girl. So it would be wrong of me not to pick her straight away. But having said that, I genuinely believe she has the capacity to win this season. I think she's done this before, and she knows what went well last time, and she knows what doesn't go well. I think she's an expert as far as it goes in analysing gameplay. I think while there's a lot of super strong alpha women playing this season, I think Dani's subtle enough that she can do that without pissing everybody off. And I think there could be some conflict amongst some of the badass women in this season, but I think Dani can ride it out. So I just think she's the queen, and so she's my number one. And I'm sorry, Jules, because I do love you. I just don't know you as well.
She is a queen. Josh O'Brien had this to say. I find it. Second-time player, known to be a cutthroat, competitive queen. Hard exterior, but if you get to know her, a darling. Charm and disarm, a good strat. If she isn't recognized by other players, she will be able to do a lot of damage.
Yeah,
okay.
I agree with that.
And Mark, what did you have to say about Dani?
Yeah, I've got Dani in my tier 1 pick round for sure. I can see her being like final 5 at worst, right? Like, so I'm looking at her going long into the game. I don't think it matters if people recognize her or not. Just like looking at this cast, people don't seem to want to be playing aggressive. So I think that she'll be able to mobilize before people come with her, and I think she'll get like her roots in before her reputation comes to catch her.
From a timing perspective, I don't believe Sydney had not aired when this filmed, so she cannot be recognised.
All right,
unless people were.
I'm predicting final 5 at worst for Dani, if not final 3. So good draft pick.
Confirmed. Just Liz is just realizing that her husband somehow is completely unspoiled on this season, which is a crazy fact. That must be very exciting for Liam. Season 2 star Liam, for those that watch back Melbourne that far. So now, Mark, you have the third pick of the round, and who are you wanting to pick as your choice?
All right. So not happy with this third pick in the order. You know what? I'll take Jules.
There she is.
Put her on my team.
All right. What do you want to say about Jules?
I think Jules is going in with like a very strong head. She's no nonsense. She knows what she wants to achieve, and she's here to get it done. And yeah, I think that like there's just a few very passive men in this season, and I think Jules will get she'll get the forces to I don't want to say push them around, but push them in the right place to get what she needs done. So I can see Jules like really, really doing well with this cast.
Josh O'Brien had this to say: huge personality, love or hate. Met her in person and she's very full on, but then you love her. Could be a figurehead of an alliance or crash and burn early. Hope she can have an alliance of the female orcas from her tribe. Sam's excited. And what about you, Loz? What do you have to say about the wonderful Jules?
I mean, Jules and I were sisters in blue, so I love her for that. But I also love her because the love you or hate you attitude is literally my life as well. And I totally get it. And also that you just don't give a fuck really if people don't like you that much. So I think she's super awesome. My concern is that there are a lot of other players in the game that I think are going to annoy the absolute shit out of Jules because of their playing style. And I hope that, they don't kind of outnumber her in that kind of way where there's less of those with the killer instinct and more of those who want to play a friendly game. But yeah, look, otherwise, I just think she's awesome and I can't wait to see her play. I was hoping that her and Ashley were going to be on the same tribe because I was dying to see how that dynamic was going to go, that like the two really like fiery women, but we'll see. Maybe they will end up together at some point.
Did you know that Jules was a police officer at this time before you saw her meet the cast video?
Yeah, because we talked about it in my season.
Of course.
Yeah. So I did know.
Well, Marc, you had the displeasure of picking third, but it means you get back-to-back picks here. Who would you like to take in fourth place?
Okay, I like a little bit of a balancing thing here. I'm torn. I got two picks on the table that I'm really tossing up. All right. I'm going to shoot. I'm going to take Aaron.
Tell us about Aaron. Why are you picking Aaron?
Is that the right picture? Do I have the right guy? He's he's done a trial before. Is that Aaron?
I think Aaron had done a trial, yes. He had done a trial.
I like that he was one of the more extroverted men on the season. He had trial experience. Mentioned that he was a bit like an on.
Is this the right person? Actually, a bunch of people have done trials. Byron's done a trial. Aaron, someone.
I think it's
Aaron definitely has done a trial.
Yeah, the photo is just not matching up with like the video that I thought I watched.
Okay.
But just the way that he had like the org experience and things like that, I thought that it would go into this game with a bit of an idea of how fast paced it is and how to make that core group kind of work. A lot of people talked about like not wanting to lock anything in too early. And I think that like, not the killer instinct, but the instinct to get things moving, lock things down might suit him well. And he talked about his physicality being his biggest weakness. And I think we know in these LRGs that physicality, babes, is not essential. So I think he'll be okay with that weakness.
I can tell you, yes. So there's a few people popping up about the trials. Jules did a trial with Aaron, is the information we're learning. And Mars had done a trial before, as well as Byron. I'd also make note that I can tell you that this being on one of these LRGs, it's a lot of people's dreams. It's very hard to get on these things these days, but it was absolutely Aaron's dream to play one of these LRGs. And so he was over the moon to be cast. This was his dream come true. Josh O'Brien, who's thanking me for being his mouthpiece. Just FYI, Josh is at work today, sadly, but I guess he's not paying much attention at work because he's watching this. So Josh had this to say about Aaron. Will attempt to be a leader, but people will not take him too seriously. The strong women will wipe the floor with him. Stephen from Backyard Survivor Season 2 vibes. Can't see him going far. What do you guys think about the Steven comparison, Mark? I don't know if Loz has watched Backyard 2. Have you watched Backyard 2, Loz?
Yeah, it's Steve, but
What do you
Steve
think
got quite far, right?
Yeah, he did. He came 5th.
Yeah, and the whole point of drafting is to like amass points. Am I correct?
Mm-hmm. Correct.
So that comparison might serve me well, Josh.
It may.
Uh,
Loz, what did you have to say about Aaron?
So Aaron, he comes across as a sweetheart, but that doesn't make him unique in this cast of men. They all kind of came across as sweet guys. And one thing he said, he wants to be remembered as friendly. And I just can't back anybody who comes into an LRG, particularly Survivor, who wants to be remembered as friendly. I mean, you want to be remembered as the winner. You want to be remembered as a player, as a strategic threat, as a threat. If you want to be remembered as friendly, you're probably playing the wrong game. So while I'm sure he's beautiful and everything about him came across as such a sweet guy, man, where's your killer instinct? They're just like, the girls are just they're gonna pull you along and then they're gonna drop you and you're not even gonna know why.
But how far will they pull? That is the question, right? Points are amassed per round, and if he's useful, he will earn me points.
Look, you're not wrong strategically, Mark, but Loz's take there is the hottest. I wouldn't say it's a hot take. It's actually a cold take, but it's a super accurate take. Well, it's not hot because it's so obvious. It's so right, which makes it not hot. Like, you're right. That's not what you're here for. We're not here to be friends. You're here to either win or be the Bromelo medalist. Those are the only two things that matter.
The only
Nothing else
reasons.
matters.
I mean, if you want to be friends with people, go to a book club. That'll be nice. You're not here to play Survivor. And given how many guys I know apply for these games, and I know because I've been involved in the casting side of it as well, don't tell me you're there to make friends and be friendly. Tell me you're there to literally destroy everybody in your path to be the sole survivor. That's what I want to hear.
And I don't know about you two, but I went in not trying to make friends, and I was super orca and over the top, and I still made a bunch of friends because, frankly, those are the sort of people want to be friends with. I'm sure we all have,
Exactly.
Yeah. I don't know if this is an insult from Liz or not, but Aaron gives the same energy as the guy who won Survivor New Zealand won. I think it's an insult. I couldn't get through that season at all. It was horrible. There are LRGs that are better made than that thing. Okay, so now we go to you, Mark. Oh, no, it's to Josh. It's back to Josh. No, it's Loz. It's your pick, Loz. We have picked the top 4 we've picked are Mars, Danny, Jules, Aaron. Who are you picking, Loz?
And this was a tough one, and I had them neck and neck, but only because the one I was going to go with was one of the few that I thought could be a bit of an alpha guy, but in the end, a could be alpha guy wasn't enough for me. It had to be someone I knew was going to be badass, so I've picked Ashley. So let me find what I said. I just love Ashley's absolute transparency with who she is and how she's going to play. And the fact is she'll get away with it because she's still super endearing and super charismatic, and people will want to work with her, even if, and I think the more passive guys playing this season will absolutely gravitate towards her, and they'll know that she's going to screw them, and they'll still want to work with her because she's just an epic player and she's got the experience. She's done it before. I think her biggest threat this time around is going to be the fact that she's got a bunch of other women who will come in with a similar game and a similar kind of mindset. And that's what I'm super excited about, is to see how they all find their places within the game. But if she can kind of maintain that charisma and keep her little, posse with her, I think Ashley could go super, super far.
A little fun fact behind the scenes, Ash actually, just like you, Loz, was the substitute. Late call up for someone that couldn't play the season. So just like you
I
in your
didn't know
shoes in
that.
Canberra, Ash
I
had
mean, I
to-
think
to
I'm the
call-
latest substitute they've ever had, where literally I was already at camp, I think, when I got substituted in. But that's awesome. It's hard to go in as a substitute because you don't think you'll play, because you don't want to give yourself that kind of hope just to be disappointed. So this time around, I think it gives her this chance to play it out, like leave it all on the table.
So Josh O'Brien had this to say: second-time player, very experienced, cult leader, can see her running rings around people. If people don't recognize her, she will demolish people. High threat to win. Unlike Danny's season, which had not been aired, Canberra 1 certainly had been aired. People were aware of who Ash was. It well, they had the potential to know. I don't know what any of these 16 people actually knew when they went there, but she was a known commodity if you were a part of the community. What do you think about Ashley, Mark?
Ash was the coin flip on that last pick. As I said earlier, there's only 2 men I wanted, and because Josh snapped one of them up, I was like, I'll take the other. So I'm a little bit devastated that Ash is not on my team. I think I liked everything she said in the video. I like how she has a really killer instinct, but plays it down and kind of giggles her way through murder. I think that's really sick. I value that in a person. But I think she's really well positioned with the people on her tribe as well. I think that's the thing that really made me want to draft her, is like I can see her being one of the surviving members of the starting blue tribe. So I think Ash is a very good pick for this round.
Josh O'Brien, whose pick it is now, and then we'll determine the people's champion, which I'll explain for everyone listening in a moment. He was very much on the same wavelength as the two of you. In his top 5 picks, he had Mars, who's he's obviously picked, Ash, Danny, and Jules. But his third place pick has yet to be drafted. So we'll be bringing in here in 6th place the person that he wanted to draft at 3rd, and that is Mietta. And Mark is displeased. And this is what he had to say about Mietta. Finding it. Sorry, where is it? Did he write one? I feel like he didn't write one for her for some reason. No, he loved her, but he didn't write one. She is an incredibly strong player physically. I think that comes across in the package. A real athlete, someone who's not necessarily a big awareness of the game, but looking to bring those physical attributes to see what she can do in the game. Oh, sorry, it is the first one on Josh's list. Here we go. Josh, just tell me, by the way, if you're liking these impressions I'm doing of you, or if you're not liking them. I don't know if I'm going to stop either way, but I'd be interested in having your thoughts. Opinionated, strong leader, reminds me of Backyard Survivor 1 Rosie a little bit. Could be the leader of an alliance. I see her working with Mars, and Ash is a strong core. What did you think about Mietta, Loz?
I liked Mietta a lot, but I liked a lot of the girls a lot. I love their energy. What I liked about her was that she knew her weaknesses as far as not knowing the game, but she already had a plan as to how she was going to kind of circumvent that issue, which was, identifying and recognizing the people who had that experience and working with them. But unlike some of the more passive guys, I think she's got the ability to then learn quickly how to play and can then take that knowledge and potentially then ditch those stronger people that have brought her along. So I think she's going to be a huge threat. I think she's got a real killer kind of energy to her, and having that insight as to where your strengths and weaknesses in the game lie this early, especially when you're not a Survivor fan, jumped out at me. I think she'll just get better as the game progresses.
Just for everyone's reference at home, particularly if you listen to the podcast version and you can't see the video, I have approval from Josh. He loves the CK gay voice, so I'll keep going with that. Marc, what do you think about Mietta?
All right. I stand Mietta. So firstly, shout out for the Camp Cope t-shirt that she's wearing. I clocked that. I think we could have bonded over Georgia Mac, but she is the kind of girly who would absolutely hate me while I try nothing but to try and be her best friend. And these players always end up like in the final 5, final 4 in a position of power over me. And I can see her in that. I can see her being like locked into a group, never the target. And anyone who tries to be her friend, I can see her just pushing them away while not actually rubbing anyone the wrong way. So, yeah, Elle's in the chat for me because Mietta was my next pick.
We now go to the People's Champion. So for those who are new to our coverage or have not been familiar with it before, we've done this the last 2 seasons, and because there's 3 of us making picks, that takes up to 15 people if we have an even draw, and there's 1 person left. Now, this 1 person who is about to be spun by this wheel, I'll get the wheel up. Share it right there. There it is. I've got a better image of that. Okay, so we have the wheel, and whoever this wheel spins, if they manage to finish in the top 5 of the season, the finale, they make the finale because that's what's really relevant. If you're not the winner and you're not the ORCA, you want to make the finale. If they make the finale, I will come to Melbourne and I will put on a bar tab to the tune of 1,000 wing wangs, beers on CK, wine, spirits, whatever your poison is. It's all there. It's happened twice. We've done this twice. And on both occasions, in Loz's season, Eden was the People's Champion and he came 5th. In Marc's season, Zoe was the People's Champion and she came 3rd. I believe it was 3rd. So let's see. And now I know the outcome. I will have no reaction. No reaction. But we will see who will be the People's Champion. The People's Champion is Nat. I'll have to find her picture and bring it up. Why don't one of you talk about Nat while I get her picture up, please?
I loved Nat. Oh my God. She dropped so many F-bombs in her intro video. It was just delightful. I love the fact that people in general shit her. So naturally she decided to play a game that's based entirely on social interaction. I think all of the spiritual Zen people are going to absolutely shit her to tears, and I cannot wait to see her confessionals. I think she's going to have the best confessionals of the season.
I also really I love Nat's personality. I don't know if this is the game for her to win. I feel like if she was to play an All-Stars with Josh or myself, we would have the time of our lives. People in general shit me. I want that tattooed across my body. And I'm also obsessed with the obligatory merge hand wave. So Nat and I are kindred spirits. I love Nat.
Nat, I actually met, she was somewhat recruited. I met her on an online word-based org, so no video. And her personality still absolutely screamed through text. That's how strong and amazing her personality is, that you can see it in just text. She's an amazing woman who has fought through a lot of adversity, and this experience was, I think, really special for her. So really excited to see what she can bring. In terms of what Josh O'Brien had to say, Demon Mum Mafia Mob Queen, know of her from online, so Josh knows her too. Very opinionated, love her, don't have much faith in her game unless she finds a group of bitchy gays to take her to the end. Wish I was there playing with her. You and Josh, very similar views on that, Mark.
Yeah, I know the kind of person of, I don't know her at all, but like I feel like she really needs her crew, and if she has her crew, she'll do very well. But I don't know if she'll be able to connect with this cast. But I'm ready for her. I love her.
So Josh O'Brien has the next pick, and his next pick is another big personality on the season, Hannah.
I knew
I think Hannah
punish me.
Hannah, look, I think we got a lot of Orca potential coming out of Nat and Hannah. I wonder if this is a season where we get another female Orca. That'd be amazing, I feel. So what Josh had to say about Hannah is confident speaker, but I don't know if the tribe mates will have the same confidence in her. Seems upfront and confrontational, which I like. I hope she does well, competitive, wants to be a bully, Orca energy flowing. What do you feel about Hannah Loz?
And sorry for everyone, I can't hear Mark. So if anything, whatever Mark is saying, I'm not reacting. It's not that I don't agree with Mark, which I probably don't agree with Mark, but I can't hear him at all.
So far, you're both doing
or not reacting. That's all it is.
You're doing an amazing job here, actually. Of you two are you're not saying the same thing that he's saying. Like it's actually a different take.
Okay. All right. Well, that's good.
So
that
most
doesn't
people
shock
would not
me.
Realize. Yeah.
That doesn't shock me. I'm going to have to watch this back to actually hear Mark's takes because I genuinely am interested. But so Hannah, she was interesting because she's super young. 19 is really young, especially compared to the rest of the cast. But I found her really articulate. And I think in another season without as many upfront women, she might have done better. I just wonder in this season, being as confrontational as she potentially is going to be and as kind of direct as she's potentially going to be, I don't know how it's going to fly overall, not just with like our really strong women, but I think some of our gays and our more passive guys will gravitate towards some of the older girls potentially. So it could just be for Hannah, it was maybe the wrong time, wrong place. I mean, she might be able to prove me wrong though. I don't know. She's clearly got an interesting job and she works well under pressure. So we shall see.
What was her job? I have no memory of this from casting. What is her job?
She's an event medic and she mainly works on like cruise ships or ships and that sort of thing. So it's that sounded like a pretty interesting job to me.
Free concerts, I imagine, being like an event medic. Free concerts and like dealing with.
Well, she said about being like out on the water. So whether it's cruise ships, I don't know. But I thought it was interesting.
Ma says that Hannah is a vibe. What's your opinion on her? She's a full-time badass, according to Marcus. What do you think, Mark, about Hannah?
Yeah, this is really why I didn't want to go after Josh in the pick order because I'm pissed off right now. I'm obsessed with Hannah. I really, really like her. I'll go on record and say no one else on the cast I really care about after Hannah. She's a queen, and I'm waiting. The jury's out on everyone else. She mentions that she hates incompetence, and that really raises the bar for me. She wants to win, so she has strong Orca potential. She mentioned that bullying is okay. You know what? Maybe we should bring back bullying. I'm all for it. I kind of stan her a little bit. And the thing that really won me over was she had a high words per minute. That means a lot to me. Her WPM was off the charts. And she made the most out of the time she had in her intro video. So Hannah, not this time, baby, but I see you. I see the potential.
Loz, who do you want to take with your next pick?
Okay, I'm going to go with my first guy pick. Only because there's almost no girls left, and he was actually high up for me. So I'm going with Xavier. And Marc is already, I know already that Marc is going to disagree, and that's actually okay. I feel like I see something in Xavier that maybe there's more to him than meets the eye. So what I liked about Xavier was he had the awareness to straight away go, if I can't turn up looking like this in his sweater vest and his glasses, people are just going to vote him out straight away. And I agree with that. But he's like, I'm going to take my glasses off. And he took his glasses off and he looks like a really different guy. And I think he will have a really good read on people. I think he's going to be able to connect with people. And he's not as tree hugging zen, smelling emotions as some of the other guys. And I think that will be a good thing for him. Other notes I made, I didn't get winner vibes from him necessarily, but I think he could make it far. Like I can see him making it into merge right up through to maybe even close to the end. I don't know that he would have the ability to sell himself enough necessarily at the end, but he's super articulate. So I like him. I think he's going to be someone people trust, but I think he's smart enough to have good reads. So Xavier, I hope you're honored that you're my very first guy pick in the draft, knowing that I'm a girl's girl. It's all the girls, the girls, and sometimes the gays, and very rarely anyone else. So
fun little fact about Xavier, his application video was basically an application video he'd made to go on The Real Survivor that he just sent to us. And why not? It was very high quality.
Because I did the same thing.
Danny actually just sent us her Sydney video and didn't even change it from I want to be on Sydney Survivor. She didn't say change it to Melbourne. But anyway, Xavier
That's the beauty of being a girl.
He actually had some footage of a LRG he'd played. It wasn't one that I think it was on YouTube for a brief period, but it was mainly amongst friends, and a lot of them were high-profile reporters. And I think you're gonna love this, Loz. One of these high-profile reporters that he played this game with was Clementine Ford.
No! Oh my god, I love him even more. I knew my vibes were right. Something in my waters was telling me. So,
if you like that, I also went to university with Clementine Ford. If you want to get excited about Clementine Ford references,
I do love. I love her. I love her how she stirs the whole world. Everyone
she's always been like that. When she was running the student newspaper up until now, she's always been the same. So that's some information about Xavier. Josh had this to say: could be seen as patronizing to these strong females. Coming in chill at first is a good idea for him. Trying to make moves never been done. I look forward to seeing that. Keegan vibes. Keegan. I don't see the Keegan, but nice for him to see that. Marc, what do you feel about Xavier? Your reaction tells me you were not a fan.
Do I think he has potential to do well? Yes. Do I like the fact that he introduced himself with 4 positive adjectives about himself? Absolutely not. That's just too much self-esteem for a heterosexual male that I just can't get behind. He mentions that he's captivated by early Survivor gameplay. I find that so boring and so straight. And he said that he hates game players. So I feel like we're just never going to see eye to eye. And until I'm proven differently, I can't wait to backstab you in an All-Stars game someday, Xavier. That's just how I feel.
What's really interesting is, as you say, he said he's not interested in gameplay, yet he tells us, as Josh mentioned in his comments, that he's got some moves that no one's ever seen before. So how can you be a player?
That is hypocrisy and privilege combined, and I don't like it. I don't like it.
Yeah. I get it. All right, Mark, you now have 2 picks, and you've been complaining non-stop that you've not been getting the people you want. Here is your chance to lock in 2 people that are going to be cornerstones of the middle part of your draft.
There's no one else that I really want, so I'd be willing to give away 2 of my picks for Hannah. Like, that's where I'm at. Give me Hannah, and I'll give you.
Well,
2
you can
picks in a
draft
row.
with Josh after. You can do a trade with Josh after the fact if you like.
All right.
If Josh wants to put in the comments, again.
My notes on the next 2 people are: cannot stand this person, major red flag, has said nothing. I'm gonna go with Shelley. All right, Shelley is my next pick.
I'm getting there. Where are you, Shelley? Here we are.
Shelley, I don't have the utmost faith in her ability to win the game. I am concerned that she could be an easy picking in round 1 or round 2, but if she can get over that hurdle, I could see Shelley doing quite well for herself. And yeah, like she didn't rub me the wrong way like the rest of the cast did. So happy to have Shelley.
There's a lot of like Shelley love in the comments. Stephen Charles said it should have been your first pick. They all love her, etc. Mars says your note should say Shelley is my queen and savior. Josh O'Brien had this to say: nice, cool mum, recognize her from online, keen for her to play for herself and break out of the selfless mum archetype. Seems hardworking, happy to play as a goat and then do some damage. High hopes for her. It's funny that he recognizes her from the online, because I first met Shelley on an online game. It was one of Pratty's minis. I don't know if everyone's aware of Pratty's minis, but they should be, because I happened to win this one 4-3 over my bestie Max. It was quite the outcome. But it actually ended up having, in retrospect, an incredible collection of people that have gone on to be LRG stars. Myself, Annabelle, and Max were in that season. This is after we played. Scott was also there. Equally, Casper from Backyard 4 was there, as was Mac of Mac and Buckles fame, who we will see one day play. And I think Shelley was there and some other people. A lot of people have played in that season. So really interesting that Josh also recognized her from online. What did you feel about Shelley Loz?
Shelley seemed super lovely. I guess what I didn't love was she kind of painted that she was going to be happy to be kind of a goat, and she's a people pleaser, so she doesn't want to upset people. And it really, as you know, I have a hard time with people who are happy just to cruise all the way through the end and let somebody else be a shield and make all the tough decisions and be the bad guy. And that was the kind of vibe I got from Shelley, was that as much as she could, she didn't want to hurt people's feelings. She didn't want to upset anybody. She wanted to align with someone strong who would take her to the end so that she could be the good guy. And that's a strategy. And I get that that's a strategy. It's not just a strategy it's just a strategy I don't, I guess, respect in the same way as somebody who's willing to come in and at least be the person to make those tough decisions. And I think, it could be a great strategy for her. I think it could get her to the end. I don't know that it alone, though, would win her the game unless, she had kind of a good story arc or growth arc to go with it. So, yeah.
Mark, who do you want to pick as your next pick? You say you hate them all, but you've got to pick someone. Who are we going with?
All right. This is hard. Who's left? We got.
You've got.
No. All right. Who do I begrudgingly think might do okay? I'll go with Greg.
Here is Greg.
Now I have to make very, very clear. His story gives me the ick. The commune in Israel backstory. I don't vibe with that. It's giving very savior tourism, and I'm just not here for it. Maybe I'm ignorant, but that's how I feel.
He is, Mark, I will clarify, he is Jewish. So he's not some random Christian.
Okay. That gives me some more credibility then. I feel like it's the kind of thing that where if he does well, it would be at the expense of a player like me. So it's like hard to kind of like root for his character. But I do think that like he has the potential to like be the antithesis of a player like I am. So maybe he could be a hero. Maybe he goes far. Maybe in some weird reality that I'm not a fan of. But we'll take Greg.
Josh O'Brien had this to say: maybe a fish out of water in this social environment, not surrounded by an echo chamber and like-minded people. Challenge strength may keep him longer than it should. Floater vibes. Can't see him bonding with the strong females this season. Greg's also a huge music fan. I randomly ran into him when I was in Melbourne for like good times, like 2 years ago. And I believe he has a video of him. You know how sometimes bands bring people up on stage and they like play guitar or they sing? He has a video of him doing that with Green Day, which is pretty cool. Loz, what did you think about Greg?
I didn't like Greg. The notes I had on Greg were seems more interested in the experience than in winning. Said himself that he will struggle socially. Said that he says the wrong thing at the wrong time, which can be totally fatal in Survivor. I mean, if you can't be trusted to keep your mouth shut at the right moment, you're very likely to have the vote turned on you. No killer instinct, and I had early boot. And look, maybe in person he's going to be super lovely. I just didn't get any of the vibes that he would fight to stay in the game. And if you make yourself an easy target, people will kick you out if you're an easy target, because that's easier than making a tough decision. So I hope he proves me wrong. I really do. I hope all the boys prove me wrong.
Greg finds your opinions on him low.
My concern for Greg is like I'm worried he's not going to say much until he says the wrong thing at the wrong moment and doesn't have the traction to recover.
Marcus wants to posit a question to you. Is it not totally okay to play for the experience? I'm genuinely confused by how that's a negative. I think it's because, Marcus, we want to see people play. Like, we want to see gameplay. We don't want people that are there for the experience tend to play safe and boring because they want to stay longer for the experience. That's my view. What do you guys have a view on that?
I would say that. I just think playing for the experience means you're okay to leave whenever you get voted out. You're not fighting to stay. You're not willing to put really, really difficult choices forward, because it's easier if you feel like you've had the experience and you're kind of done, it's easier to just get voted out. And you're going to have like 50-50. We're going to have people who really, really, really want to play, who need people in their corner to help them get further, who aren't really there to play. They're just there for the experience. And that, I don't think the two games kind of align. And you've got to have some killer instinct. You've got to want to get further. Otherwise, like, why would I want to work with you? Like, what are you going to offer to me if you don't really care if you don't make it to the merge, or you don't really care? How can I trust you that you're going to want to keep working the strategy moving forward?
I want to see people have a strong point of view, right? Like, you've chosen to do this, you signed up for it, but to a lot of people, it means a lot. And it's not just about the experience of some people, it's about proving something to themselves. And if you haven't got that strong point of view of what you're actually going to achieve, besides just throwing it through, like doing a few challenges, you're kind of impacting like other people's experience at the same time. Have a point of view.
Marcus has made the point that a lot of winners don't have the killer instinct. I actually think that's like a 50-50. If I ran through them all in my head, I think half of them have a pretty strong killer instinct. Ma, who is here live in the chat, certainly had a killer instinct. Bethany had a killer instinct. Haley had a killer instinct. But I do think it's in the earlier seasons of these LRGs, you didn't have to necessarily have as much of a killer instinct. But I think that we now get a lot of people coming to these LRGs wanting to play the game hard, and you do need some of that to win. Who would you like to make with your next pick, Loz?
My next pick is Evan. Which I don't think Marc will be sad that I grabbed Evan. Maybe he is. I don't know. Evan was came across to me a lot like a lot of the other guys as being introverted. He said he was introverted, but to me, he seemed to have a better read on how he was going to navigate the game as an introvert. And he made a point of talking about the strategy of playing for second. So putting yourself with somebody that you are actively using as almost your shield that you can get rid of at the last moment. So not being a passive player, but having a strategy of working with somebody who will be a bigger threat than you at the end. And if you can pull that off, I'm a fan of that. Absolutely. If you can pull it off, and the fact that you can articulate that at the end. So of the guys that are left, he was the one I think that jumped out at me as potentially having the best potential with the strong chicks to make it far.
Liz is a fan of his hat. I agree. The hat's great. I really I pushed hard in casting to these people to not all come in like active wear and sweatpants and fucking tights. I wanted people to wear outfits that represented their freaking personalities, and so I made
that
sure
is
they
my
came
personality.
This
Black
hat
tights
is his
are my
personality.
personality, CK.
I can see you're still wearing them, and that's perfectly fine. But you also wore the old school Survivor t-shirt, don't forget. That was your personality.
I didn't know I was playing. If I knew I was playing, I wouldn't have worn that.
You also had a good hat from memory. Great hat.
I did have a
just
good
like
hat.
Evan.
Yeah.
It looks like Evan. You had a great hat. So part of the question, Marc makes the point that this guy built an escape room from scratch. He runs an escape room that he actually built. It's not just one that he operates. Josh O'Brien had this to say. Beta version of Hot Daddy Nick from Qanberra 2. Love Marc. He hates loud people. He hates orcas. He doesn't say orcas, but like the fact that he said he doesn't like, he really felt like he didn't like orcas in his little bit. We'll try to eliminate the iconic players, maybe. That's boring. Can see him being led along by Mars and Ash. What do you think about Evan, Marc?
I'm not a fan of Evan. I wasn't wanting to draft him. I don't love people who tout escape rooms as like a personality trait. It's a bit of a red flag for me. I don't get it. It's kind of like LARPing. It's just not my cup of tea, right? Like I don't vibe with the whole escape room thing. The identification of an introvert who wants to play for second is just, it's a no. Like, you don't get many opportunities like this. And I'm not saying you have to do everything to blow the game up at every opportunity, but just like, you need to go in with like some conviction, some authority. And I don't see him making the most of the opportunity that is so great. So yeah, not for me, love.
There's some fun things going on in the chat. I have to say, I didn't really think about it, even with Josh's comment, but he does look quite a bit like Nick, Mars Nick from Qanberra season 2.
He does.
This is what Marc has said. And Mars confirmed they have the same birthday. So long-lost twins, perhaps, Nick Otter and Evan. There's some been call about the leggings. Look, I might have approved leggings. I just didn't want someone in grey sweatpants like Dale wore in my season. Sorry, Dale, but it was a poor choice of clothing, and I didn't want people in grey sweatpants. All right, I just didn't want that. Okay, that's where my head was at. Leggings are fun. Ma says when she met Nick, she asked if he had a brother called Evan, because Evan's actually a longtime friend of Mars. Before obviously she met Nick, for reference.
Doesn't Evan have curly hair though? Like if he took the hat off, they would look quite different, right? Because I didn't see it until the hat.
I think yes, yeah, it is some curly-ish hair. Stephen Charles thinks someone needs to rock up in a suit. That'd be pretty iconic, right? Someone coming in a suit, be like, oh, that's real old school Survivor, playing in a ripped suit that you take apart as the show goes on. So now the pick is Josh. He has his final 2 picks in a row. There are only 4 people left, and the first pick he's getting was actually the person that he had ranked 9th. So that's pretty good value to be getting at this point, considering he rated him so highly. And that pick is Adam, who should be with us on the screen shortly. And what he had to say about Adam: semi-known in the online community, could see him getting in a disagreement and then finding himself unable to dig himself out of the conflict. Hopefully doesn't play too much in his head instead of bonding with people in front of him. May find it hard to keep allies. I quietly have more faith in him than most of the other males in the cast. Fun fact, Adam was actually the alternate for my season, playing with fire. But of course, that cast was completely iconic and we all showed up, so he didn't get a chance to play. What did you think of Adam, Mark?
Oh my god, I don't want to be too negative, but like we just reached the part of the cast that I don't care for, so I'm sorry, Adam. I felt like you didn't say much in the first 30 seconds of your videos, and then my ears pricked up when you said that you hate people who complain while you idealize Colby. Oh, it's just a bit of a yawn for me. I just don't get how you're going to be able to like manipulate people like you say you will without much of a personality behind it. So all in all, yeah, I don't get much from Adam. I'm such a hater tonight. My God.
That's why you're here. I didn't bring people on to be lovers. I brought on the haters. Loz, what do you feel about Adam?
I don't know what Mark said, but I feel like I'm going to repeat it. He described himself as a nice guy and easygoing. And those just, I mean, is that it? That's you? That's your whole personality? You're a nice guy and you're easygoing. And then described himself basically as an overthinker who needs to get out of his own head, which says to me, you're not easygoing at all. You maybe want to be easygoing. The nice guy thing, though, nice guy to me equals boring. If that's the best you can come up with for your personality, like that to me is kind of boring. So if he like can handle the overthinking and not think that because people aren't saying it, they're not, that people are targeting him or something like that, then in the right alliance, maybe he could go far. But he was such a grey man and just such a blah intro that I actually had to keep going back to try and remind myself who he was.
Can I make a prediction?
Of course.
I feel like him and Danny are going to butt heads. I feel like that's going to be the showdown on Pink.
Well, we will have to wait and see.
We'll have to wait and see. But...
Jules has come to the conclusion, Loz, that you like bad boys and you don't like the nice ones. That's what she's saying.
I just don't think the guys who describe themselves as nice guys are necessarily nice guys. But yeah, okay. I do have a thing for bad boys. I mean, come on. Bad boys, crazy girls,
I want to make it very clear. I haven't highlighted this. I normally wear the buff and the colors of the person that gets booted on the week that we do the podcast. Obviously, no one's been booted at the start of the show, but I wore pink in absolute support of my women, Danny and Jules. That's why I'm in the pink, because they're obviously in the pink tribe. But I will generally have the colors for the particular boot of the week. I'm just seeing people wondering why I'm in the Nassau pink. The next pick is also Josh's. This is his last pick. And I hope someone's recording who's made all these picks, because I'm not. I hope Danny's doing it. The pick that he has is another man, another pink man, and there's 2 pink men left. And that pink man is Byron. And what he had to say about Byron is when I locate it. From the Meet the Cast, he was not expressive when he speaks. Could be seen as not endearing or sincere. Don't believe in the empath thing. In a short, quick game, I don't think it's going to work. Holding back the charisma in the Meet the Cast, but maybe just nervous to come out of his shell. I hope he proves me wrong from the first impression. Fun fact about Byron and also Mars, and part of why I cast both of them, they were both very good in their interviews and everything like that. But with having the beach, the plan was obviously to have these beach challenges because that's why you do the beach. And I was hoping they would both get their shirts off because they both have fantastic rigs and they'd done that in the trials. So they were obviously open to doing it. So potentially look forward to that.
Yeah, I mean, I can respect that.
Your first comment when you saw this guy was you were keen, but then I told you that he doesn't bat for the team.
No, I said he's cute. I thought he was cute. He is cute. Like he's super cute.
The girls are cute.
Yeah, the curls are cute. But yeah, he lost me at the point where he can taste emotions or whatever it is that he does. So I don't know. I just kind of looked at him and went, Byron, do you know the game you're coming to play? He's no good at lying. He's no good at manipulating. These are his words too. I wrote them down. He's going to be too trusting of people. And he's going to use yoga and breathing to help him get through challenges.
Endurance, I suppose. Yeah. Marc, what do you think about Byron?
Yeah, I feel like he's here for Eat, Pray, Love and not for Survivor. So Byron was very low on my list for that reason. Have you seen that clip of like the guy who's on The Bachelorette or something? And it's like, I think you're just here for the zip line. Byron's giving me like, you're here for the zip line kind of vibes. I just don't think he's here to play. I don't think he's here to dash people's dreams. And I think that will make him a very unvaluable alliance member.
We have 2 people left to pick. Loz will get this pick, which means Marc will get whoever's left. And I must say that some iconic people have been picked in this position, 15th. I don't actually know who was 15th picked in your season, Loz. I can't recall. But I certainly can recall who was picked 15th in Marc's season because it was Marc. And I picked him 15th. And honestly, it was the best pick I made of the draft. And that's no surprise because I drafted Tommy in the first round. But nonetheless, who I picked was someone I enjoyed following the entire season. And we'll have to see, Loz, if who you pick now is someone you're going to enjoy following the entire season. Your choices are Chris and Christelle.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So I am picking Chris. And the reason Marc, you're welcome. Okay. But I'm going to give you my reasons as to why I picked Chris. I also think Christelle's not going to make it through the first vote, but I have played a couple of orgs where I did horrendously, like I'm really, really bad at them. And Chris is Filipino, and the Filipino players that I played with in my orgs absolutely freaking killed it. Were like came across as kind of like Chris, kind of full on and, like a lot, but then in the game really played hard behind the scenes, built really good relationships, had people who trusted them, made really strategic, tough moves. And like I got owned both times I played by the Filipino players that I played with. And so just for that, I'm just super excited to see if Chris brings it.
Josh O'Brien had this to say. Will struggle in the challenges, seems very naive, Super fan, but I feel he'll crumble under pressure and hurting other players' feelings by voting them out. Reminds me of Ken from Backyard Survivor 4 vibes, and we saw what happened with him. Will either be early cannon fodder or we used and abused as a number and dragged as a goat. Can't see him earning the respect of a jury to win. I like the Ken comparisons. No one would know better than Josh about the Ken comparisons, but I certainly can see that. Chris was also a bit of a late casting decision. I wouldn't say he was like a last minute, but there was a dropout maybe a couple of weeks before. And oh my God, had this guy been persistent about the process, endlessly emailing me. When are we going to hear back? When am I going to hear back? When are you going to tell me if I'm cast? I'm like, I'm not casting you. You're annoying me. And then someone dropped out and I had to cast him. Look, to his credit, it's because he was actually leaving the country and was trying to arrange his travel and whatever. I didn't know that. He was just annoying me because he wouldn't stop emailing me about it.
I can't believe that you were so mean about it. And he actually had a legitimate reason.
He wasn't putting the reason in the email. I was just getting annoying emails. So,
Did you ask?
That's where he was at.
Did you ask? No.
No, I just get annoyed.
I stand by my decision to bring Chris. I think he could shock us all.
My note on Chris, and I'm going off first impressions, going off the video, but I wrote and I bolded and I underlined, cannot stand this man as my first comment. I just feel like Chris and I could watch the same episode of Survivor and walk away with completely different takes, right? I just cannot see myself ever agreeing with anything this man says, because I just feel like if something is black and white, he'll walk out with a gray take that I just cannot stomach. He wants to play the middle as long as I can. This isn't a long game. There isn't time to play the middle. You need to draw a side and be on it. So because of that, I don't rate Chris. But the points Loz made, I think, are really valid. And if my read is wrong and he's got some more strength behind him, perhaps I could be very wrong.
And with the final pick of the draft, the one that doesn't get picked, the default, is your pick. Mark, you'll be receiving this player. I'm sure you know who it is, and you can talk about them while I locate the image.
So it's Christelle. Look, Christelle, hun, no one cares about your ability to cook rice in a 24-hour game. That's not a valid skill in this arena, so I don't think that's going to serve you very well. But you are a sweetheart, and while the Lozes and Eyes of the world tend to throw you into the fire in round one because we're trying to establish boundary lines and you're the kind of person who seems like you won't draw a line, if you can skate by and find some friends, maybe you'll owe me a few points. So you are hoping you do well.
Josh had this to say. We've lost Loz, by the way, for the moment, but hopefully she comes back. Where have you talked about Christelle, Josh? Here. Bubbly, fun, charisma, doesn't like rude bully people, maybe too nice for this game, wants to align with physical players and shields, doesn't seem like she'd want to make big moves, good strap, but could meet a bit of jury if she makes it to the end. You know who I get vibes from and who I got pro vibes from at the time? I got Chloe vibes. And you know what? Chloe was great at making the rice. And that's what she was good at. She was really good at making the rice, Chloe, early on. She did a lot of hard work on that rice. And maybe it's not a bad thing. You know, a Melbourne Survivor isn't like some of these ones that you guys have played, Mark and Loz. You get no food. No one's wandering around eating chips, I can tell you that, except I was eating chips in front of all of them when they were very hungry. But no, the cast isn't given any food. And you start on the Friday and you have that whole evening before you start playing the next day on the Saturday. So rice is actually pretty important. You need to eat. All right, Loz, do you have any comments on the lovely Christelle?
She was my last pick as anyhow, so she was my number 16. I just found her intro video weird. I don't know how old she is. I don't know where she's from. All I know is that she is a cook for a childcare center. She says she's chaotic with a weird energy, and I think yes, to those things. I wrote down she just comes across as like a wild card where she's unreliable. You don't know whether she'll actually stick to the plan. And she's going to make people nervous because she's just going to be wishy-washy about it, where she can't pick a course of action. So in a cast of so many, as we've said multiple times, like really game savvy women, and I can just see KK being a very easy early boot.
And that is the draft completed. Well done, everybody. So for everyone that's joined us, we've had a lot of people in the chat. We've had 17 of you here live and a lot of wonderful comments, which has been fantastic. It's a bit of housekeeping of what's going to be happening. The premiere is, of course, this Saturday evening, I think 6 p.m. Eastern. If you're one of the very lucky people attending Eden's, get the name right, because we have an Eden and an Eden in the Survivor world, Eden's theatre, to watch it in a theatre. I am so jealous of you. I will not be in Melbourne, but I imagine that is going to be an amazing experience for all of you. But for those of us that aren't in Melbourne, like I think all three of us, we'll be watching it live on the interwebs, 6 p.m. Eastern. Watch it drop, the premiere. I have seen parts of this episode. I haven't seen the final edited product, but it's pretty amazing. So Ma has outdone herself, and I cannot wait to see what she brings in this full episode. We also will be back next week. The ORCA Pod will be live discussing all the moves of the premiere. We'll be talking to the boot. This will probably be on Tuesday. To be confirmed, but probably on Tuesday. And we will be having it all of us live, plus the thing we all know and love, the thing you are back, Twalsh will be returning, the trivia will be back. And if you want to play Twalsh this season, please reach out to Danny and let her know that you want to play, you want to take the king on in Survivor Trivia. And by the king, I mean Dakota, but he's not available, so it's me, because Dakota was actually pretty epic. But no Dakotas, please. Easy beats for CK. Bring them back. Let's go. Twalsh is happening. And we will have some little cameos. Danny and Jules will join us to host Twalsh. Danny for the first 3 weeks, and then Jules for the remainder of the season. So Danny's DMs are open. If you want to take me on in LRG Survivor Trivia, Dakota's here. I don't know if I want to play you again, Dakota. Like, you were too good. Reach out and we can play. That's all coming up next week. Final words on your draft, Mark. How do you feel about it on the whole?
I'm writing a lot on Jules right now. So Jules, let's do this. Let's do this thing, baby. Let's get that W.
Loz, how do you feel about your team that you put together here? I don't think Loz can hear me. But I assume she's very happy with her team, presumably. And we'll have to find out when we get Josh on the show next week if he is happy.
If you are for Josh is my team, so Josh is very happy with his picks.
Do you wish you had Josh's team? You wish you had Josh's team. I got it. If you are watching us on YouTube or on Facebook, which is the only place you can be watching us, please like and subscribe the ORCA Pod. We've got our own coverage now. We need followers. We need that feeling of love that you can only get from people liking your social media platform. It is a feeling of endorphins that cannot be replicated. So please subscribe and like. That's why we're here, to entertain you. Do that. And until next time, Loz probably won't hear this if she comes back. But until next week, we loved having you here. We loved having you live. Thank you for everyone that attended. Thank you to everyone that listens to this after the fact, whether it be on YouTube or Facebook or Spotify or Apple Music. We love you all. Thank you for being there. And until next time, we shall dance. I had to change it. Sorry, I hit it wrong.